Lane 3, push forward. Lane 1, hold there. Actually, lane 1, you can come forward a centimetre. That's it, hold there. Lane 3, forward a centimetre. And hold there.
Western Australia. New South Wales.
Lane 6, pull back.
South Australia.
Lane 6, push forward a centimetre.
Victoria. Queensland. Australian Capital Territory. Tasmania. Attention.
Well, there's a start in the President's Cup. The men's Interstate Scull Championship of Australia for 2008 is underway. In lane 1 on the far side, Jeremy Ellis of Western Australia. Lane 2, Daniel Noonan of New South Wales, the current national champion from a few days ago. Lane 3, South Australia's Chris Morgan out of last year's quad scull that represented Australia at the World Championships. Lane 4, Victoria, Alistair Taylor. Victoria are the title holders, but that was won by David Crawshay last year. He's rowing in the 8 this year. In lane 5, current world champion in Coxless pairs, Duncan Free, going for his record equaling 8th win in the President's Cup to equal the record of the great Mervyn Wood, which happened just after the Second World War. In lane 6, the evergreen competitor from ACT, Craig Jones. And in lane 7, one of Tasmania's greatest scullers, Brendan Long. Now it's New South Wales who've moved out well at this stage. Dan Noonan after about 300 metres. Also well up there, Duncan Free there, the two leading scullers. Jeremy Ellis staying with them. In lane 3 is Chris Morgan. He's just in 4th position. On this side, Brendan Long's well up as well. But it's Dan Noonan who's throwing down the gauntlet at the first 500 metres. New South Wales is Dan Noonan through the 500 metre mark. First by about 1.3 seconds. He's opened up clear water over the rest of the field. Duncan Free in 2nd place. And alongside him is the sculler from Victoria. That's Alistair Taylor. Chris Morgan up there as well. Chris Morgan in 2nd place. Duncan Free in 3rd at the moment. Then across to Brendan Long on the grandstand side of the course. But Dan Noonan, the current Australian champion, he's throwing out a real challenge to the rest of the field by really belting out of the start and establishing a clear water lead by 700 metres. It's Noonan. Then comes Chris Morgan and Duncan Free locked together in 2nd place. Chris Morgan closing a little bit on Dan Noonan at the moment. That's New South Wales. Then comes South Australia. With South Australia, the favourite for this race, Duncan Free, concentrating on sweepboard rowing this year, but still keeping his hand in sculling, and effectively he's in 3rd place. Brendan Long in 4th. Back then to Jeremy Ellis, Alistair Taylor and Craig Jones from Western Australia, Victoria and ACT. Coming up towards the 1,000 metre mark, it's still New South Wales by a length and a half at 900 metres. Dan Noonan out by Clearwater over it's Chris Morgan in 2nd place now. Duncan Free back in 3rd, half a length behind Chris Morgan. And Dan Noonan crosses a length and a quarter ahead of Chris Morgan. Then a length back to Duncan Free. 3/4 of a length to Brendan Long. Then comes Alistair Taylor, Craig Jones and Jeremy Ellis. Great row by the New South Wales current Australian champion. Dan Noonan in the lead at the 1,000 metres. Can he hold on? He's got a length and a bit over Chris Morgan and Duncan Free. Both strong finishers, but Noonan has a race plan which sees him out in front and watching any attack that comes from behind him. And that's exactly what he's doing, giving himself a bit of margin, a bit of room to move. And he's still holding clear water over Chris Noonan after over Chris Morgan after 1,200 metres. Noonan of New South Wales, Morgan of South Australia. Approaching now, Duncan Free coming into within half a length of Chris Morgan of South Australia. The Queensland Sculler in the red boat, closing a bit on Morgan. Morgan pushing up against Noonan, but Noonan sitting back and watching that tussle behind him, still holding a bit of clear water over the two scullers from South Australia and from Queensland. Coming up to about 1,400 metres now, Dan Noonan, the local sculler, or he's from Trengi, in fact, in Western New South Wales, but the light blue sculler has now increased his lead. He's moved out to a length and a quarter over Morgan, put in a good sprint there at the 1,350 mark to just take a metre or so more of clear water over Morgan, and looking strong in this third 500 is Dan Noonan. He was powerful and dominant in the single sculls club race. 1,500 metres gone. It's Dan Noonan in the lead. And Dan Noonan going away from the field. Dan Noonan increases his lead to 2.87 seconds over Chris Morgan of South Australia at the 1,500 metre mark. The Mossman Rowing Club sculler having a great scull here. Morgan holding second place, a length and a half over Duncan Free. Duncan Free trying to move now in the closing 500 metres. We know he's got endurance. We know he's got speed at the finish. He's giving himself a long way to catch up with Dan Noonan. I doubt if he can do that. Can Chris Morgan close the gap? Noonan in the light blue of New South Wales over in lane 2, out by a length and a half over Morgan. Morgan now being pressured by Duncan Free in the red boat, the Queenslander. Then a length back to Brendan Long of Tasmania on this side. Then we go to Alistair Taylor in the middle of the field. Craig Jones 2 away from you, and on the far side the Western Australian sculler Jeremy Ellis. Now Dan Noonan has led from start to the 1,800 metre mark. He's got 200 metres to go to win the President's Cup for New South Wales, taking it away from Victoria's winner of last year, and looking very powerful in the closing stages, even moving away in the last 500 metres. Each 500 metres he's stepped it up a little bit. Dan Noonan from New South Wales, then Chris Morgan from South Australia, and then coming in third place at this stage, Duncan Free of Queensland. 3 strokes to go, 2 strokes to go, 1 stroke. Dan Noonan of New South Wales wins the President's Cup. Chris Morgan second, Duncan Free third. Alistair Taylor will get up to take fourth from Tasmania's Brendan Long. Then comes the Western Australian sculler Jeremy Ellis on the far side, and Craig Jones of ACT.